Today, we are stepping right into the workshop. We're going to talk about the absolute must-have tools for your very first furniture project. And look, this isn't about becoming a master woodworker overnight. Nope. This is about starting a creative journey that, trust me, anyone can get into.
I mean, come on, who hasn't felt that, right? That urge to make something real, something you can actually use, out of a simple piece of wood. It's an incredible feeling. And that whole journey, it all starts with getting to know your tools. So let's dive in.
But before we even pick anything up, we've got to talk about the mindset. It really all boils down to these 3 golden rules. First, choose the right tool for the job. It makes all the difference. Second, use your tools safely. This is non-negotiable. And third, take care of your tools, and they'll take care of you. This isn't just fluffy advice. It's the bedrock of good craftsmanship.
Now, to put those rules into practice, you need to get a handle on 3 key ideas. First up, we've got guidelines. Just think of these as the basic do's and don'ts of the workshop. They're the simple rules that keep things running smoothly and safely.
Okay, next up, procedures. If guidelines are the what, then procedures are the how. They are your step-by-step game plan for getting a task done right every single time. Following a procedure is how you get consistent, predictable results.
And finally, we have standards. Think of these as your final quality control check. These are the rules that not only prevent accidents, but they also make sure that what you build isn't just finished, it's finished well.
So here's our game plan for this little project journey. We're going to walk through the 4 main stages of making basically any piece of furniture, and we'll look at the key tools for each step. Let's start right at the beginning with the blueprint.
Every amazing thing ever built, whether it's a massive bridge or just a little side table, starts with a super precise plan. In woodworking, we call this the measuring and marking out phase. This is where your idea gets drawn right onto the wood itself.
So, what kind of tools are we talking about here? Well, it's pretty much anything that helps you get perfect accuracy before you even think about making a cut.
And we're starting with the absolute basics. A good tape measure for your long pieces, a solid, straight ruler for shorter lines, and, of course, a sharp pencil to mark it all out. So simple, but so important. And this right here is why that first step is just so critical. Seriously, spending a few extra seconds getting your measurements perfect can save you from trashing a good piece of wood and from the absolute frustration of parts that just don't fit. You've heard it a million times, measure twice, cut once. It's a classic for a very good reason.
All right, our blueprint is all marked out on the wood. Now it's time for the fun part, actually shaping it. This is the cutting and boring stage. This is where the magic really starts to happen.
To put it simply, these are the tools that do the real work. Their whole job is to take that piece of wood we marked up and turn it into the actual components of our project.
The main players here are going to be your saw for cutting the wood to the right shapes and lengths, and your drill for making holes. Those holes might be for screws or maybe for dowels to join pieces together.
And that's the key thing to remember. These tools aren't just about removing wood. They're about creating perfectly shaped pieces that are going to fit together like a puzzle to make something strong and useful. This is where you actually start to see your project taking shape.
Okay, now we need to talk about a group of tools that are absolutely essential, but honestly, they don't get a lot of glory. I call them the unseen heroes of the workshop, your holding and supporting devices. Think about it. When you're trying to saw a straight line or drill a perfectly placed hole, the last thing you want is for that piece of wood to be wiggling around. You need it to be rock solid. Why? Well, for accuracy. Yeah, but way more importantly, for safety. So, how do we do that?
Let me introduce you to your new best friends, clamps and vices. They're like having an extra set of incredibly strong hands. Clamps are awesome because they're portable, and you can use them to hold your work down to a bench. A vise is usually bolted right onto the bench, and it gives you an unbreakable grip.
And this really gets to their 2 main jobs. A piece of wood that doesn't move means you're going to get a much cleaner cut or a more accurate hole, for sure. But their number 1 job, their most important job, is to hold that wood tight so your hands can stay far, far away from anything sharp and spinning.
Let me say this again, because if you only remember one thing, please let it be this. Your hands are not a clamp. Never, ever, ever try to hold a piece of wood with one hand while you cut or drill it with the other. Always, always use a proper clamp or vise.
Okay, so we've measured, we've cut, and we've held our pieces safely.
Now it's time for the last stage, the one that takes a project from just being put together to being truly beautiful. This is the finishing stage. This is like signing your name on your work.
So what's this last step all about? Well, it's about smoothing out all the surfaces, getting rid of any rough spots, and prepping the wood for whatever you want to put on it. Paint, stain, oil, you name it.
The big tools here are actually pretty simple, abrasives. We're talking sandpaper, which comes in all different levels of coarseness or grit for smoothing out flat surfaces. And we've got files, which are perfect for shaping and smoothing out curves or tricky edges that sandpaper can't quite get to.
And that really just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? A good finish does three things. It makes the piece feel amazing to the touch, it gets rid of any splinters or sharp edges so it's safe, and, of course, it just makes it look fantastic and professional. This is the part that really brings out the soul of the wood.
So, there you have it. The 4 key stages and the essential tools you'll need for just about any furniture project. These are the building blocks, a skill you can have for the rest of your life. So now the only real question left is, what are you going to build first?